Woo! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, is Mr. Bobby Blunts. Bobby, what a I don't want to shit on the Canadian card. I mean, it is what it is. But Mike Malott finishes Gilbert Burns in the second. I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway. And my question, Bobby, is, do we have a new contender at welterweight in Mike Malott, and how far of a rise do you think he can go?
Loaded me up with the fastballs right away. I love it. First off, it's probably going to take me another few months to get used to the new intro. So it'll eventually settle in, but I love it. Yeah, I mean, the card as a whole, by itself, I think kind of delivered action-wise. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into some of the other cards. But regarding the main event, this is exactly why I hated this matchup. We learned absolutely nothing about Mike Malott on Saturday night. I mean, if Gilbert Burns... he tried to do a few things. Credit to Malott for stuffing all the takedowns and stuff. But when the fight ended, my really only takeaway was, why did this really have to happen? We did not learn anything. I kind of thought Gilbert should probably call it. He was definitely, his reaction time was just looking a little bit too slow compared to what we're used to. And so he laid the gloves down. That was kind of probably the more important moment of the main event, I guess. Because, to answer your question, no, I do not think Mike Malott is a new contender. At this point, I think he can beat some of the old guys still in the division. But now that he's ranked, I really don't see many favorable matchups for him other than the old guys. So I'd be interested to get your takeaway. But for me, that main event was just unanswered questions still going unanswered. Like, good for Malott getting the showcase in his hometown. Seemed to be really the only benefit of that. I really loved that it was in Winnipeg because the crowd really showed love to Gilbert afterwards, when he was saying no mas. So, I guess a good win for Mike Malott, but I really didn't learn anything about him to be able to consider him a contender in one of the deeper divisions in the UFC.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. He's got so now he's at 11, and kudos to him. I even texted you before the fight, before the main event. I said, if Burns can't beat Malott, it's time to put the gloves down. So I called that one, and at least Burns obliged, right? So at least we don't have to worry about him going forward. Malott is now entered at number 11. Gone out of the rankings. How about that? Burns and also Colby Covington finally out the rankings. So, miracles happen every day, Bobby. I'm looking at Mike Malott, and I'm looking at these rankings, and I just don't know who a winnable fight here for him. Like, is there a guy in the top 10 that he can beat? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I would probably favor most of these guys, including maybe him and Leon. I think maybe I'd favor Malott right now against Leon. I think Joaquin Buckley would beat him. I think Bonfim would beat him. I think Kamaru, Brady, Prates, Bilal, Morales, and then you're getting into the real, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't see a winnable fight for him in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of agree with that. The thing that makes it so confusing about it is now that he is kind of vaulted up in the rankings. I mean, granted, people are saying Gilbert was kind of sitting on a stale spot. Don't even get me started on Kobe, long overdue. I mean, I'm glad they made the decision. I think it finally hit him at that point when they were removing Gilbert Burns from the rankings. It's like, what the fuck are we still ranking him for if he's not going to fight? And I wonder if like the UFC is, because this part here is not Mike Malott's fault at all. So this isn't a criticism, but it does seem like the UFC is trying to use Malott as, you know, their new Canadian star, that they've never really filled that, you know,
GSP,
hole ever since GSP left. Yeah. And
he's
so
no
that's
GSP
kind of,
either. Like, that's like that. He's no GSP.
yeah. But like, it's an unfair comparison. So like, I try to not hold it against him. Like, when I say I have unanswered questions, it's not because he's not looking like GSP. It's just more about the competition they've given him, you know? You know, looking at the top 15, I think it's a lot more likely they have him fight down than up and still fight a ranked opponent, because they definitely seem to be in the Mike Malott business and wanting to build him up. So I don't know if they're going to just crack him off in the top 10 immediately.
Yeah, I mean, even below him, you got MVP. I think that'd be a tough matchup for him. I mean, Euros Medic would probably be a winnable fight. I think D-Rod is a winnable fight. And Masosiv, you know, I mean, maybe that's winnable. So, like, it's just like, okay, he might be sticking around that 15, but this is a guy who probably should have lost to Kevin Holland his last time out before this.
Yeah, the Medic fight is actually what I was thinking in terms of matchmaking of them. You know, he's slightly fighting down, but granted, he, you know, no disrespect, but he kind of got a inflated ranking as is. So I do think it would make a lot more sense. I mean, obviously, you do have Buckley and Brady next month. So if Buckley were to lose that and drop down a little more, that would make a little bit of sense. But I guess the main positive we can take away from is we'll eventually get the answer of what to make of Mike Malott.
I think there's a lot of question marks because his two fights prior to this, I mean, he got caught by Neil Magny when he was beating Neil Magny, and then he got Neil Magny. And, you know, then the Kevin Holland fight, it was like, well, he probably should have point taken away. You know, he low-blowed Holland and those things. So it's like, maybe, you know what I mean? So it's hard to like move past those things because he beat up you know, we're not talking prime Gilbert Burns here. We're talking Gilbert Burns on the way out who hadn't won a fight in, you know, forever.
Yeah. And that is kind of just the tricky part. Again, why I did not like the matchmaking in the first place. But, you know, it obviously happened. For me personally, I'm with you. I still have not been able to get the Neil Magny loss out of my head. You know, the questions we kind of had with that, he really hasn't been tested in his last few fights or like dropped around that he's needed to come back from. So I think, you know, being ranked now, those matchups are going to be a lot closer. So we should get kind of a better sense of who he is. I just kind of wonder, if he drops like the second round in a fight, how's he going to come back from that? And this was his first main event for 5 rounds. He obviously did not need it, but, are they going to do like more favorable matchmaking of having him like fight a ranked opponent in Vegas? Or are they going to go the more showcase route in Canada matchmaking?
Yeah, I don't. When was the last time he fought out of Canada? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it seems to that seems to be a guy that they can always circle. There are a couple others on the card as well, but it I guess my main takeaway is it is good to see. I do know there are a lot of fans of Mike Malott, and I was a little surprised to see the Canadian market rate him so highly. I don't know whether they've just kind of urging for that breakout star or what, but they seem to be really behind him, and him getting more wins can only kind of improve that market. So it's kind of a win-win from the UFC's angle. It's just very hard. I mean, like you said, in a lot of these upcoming matchups, it's I'm going to be kind of up in the air picking him to win the fight. But, to Malott's credit, that's kind of been his game of people doubting him and getting over the hump. There's the trial for error part of it is just going to be a lot less with these other matchups.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what they do with him and kind of where he goes. I think he's a good fighter. I don't, want to sit here and say he's not a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter. I just don't think there's not like this thing. It's like, oh, this guy's a world champion fighter. You know what I mean? And when he gets up there, I don't know where he'll be. You know what I mean? Like how he'll survive in those top against those top guys.
Yeah, well, it speaks to the first question you asked me of, is Mike Malott a contender? And based on the performance on Saturday, even though he looked great, I still can't take anything away for that answer to be yes yet. I mean, can he get some ranked wins? Sure. Do I think he can beat Islam Makhachev? I'm not even going to answer that. Like, I don't think we're
I don't know if he'll ever get there. Yeah. And on the flip side, you had Gilbert Burns, and he laid down the gloves. Your thoughts on the fighter and the legacy of Gilbert Burns? Do you like these? Do you like before you answer? Do you like the fight where a guy doesn't announce that he's going to retire and kind of retires on the spot, or do you like the hey, this is my last one announcement?
All that stuff really always comes down to like timing and stuff. And I prefer them both, but what I prefer more than anything is Gilbert acknowledging that it had been time. We've seen so many others that just want to get the bad taste of the loss out of their mouth, and they take another fight and then it, veers even worse. So though I do appreciate kind of the showcase retirement fights, like for Cub Swanson example, where they make the entire week about him, those are good for nostalgia purposes and like for the fans. You have the retirement video and stuff kind of like queued up. So those moments are nice, but I think I'm just a bigger fan in them acknowledging when time is time. And you're not going to always have that opportunity like Malott did, or, Robbie Lawler, where, they kind of had the benefit. I mean, Gilbert definitely could have got another fight from the UFC. They would still obviously be in the Gilbert Burn business, but it was good to see that he kind of knew at that point. He told himself he wanted to get through the camp and make it work, and he put in his best effort. But when he was coming forward and then getting stuffed on the takedowns, there really was no plan B. I mean, he was chewing up Malott's foot. That might have been much more of a problem if the fight got to the later rounds, but after the second round, I was kind of thinking in my mind, I don't need to see enough of this. Thank you for everything, Gilbert. And I'm glad he got, the reception from the crowd. I would imagine because it was kind of abrupt, it wouldn't shock me if the UFC has some type of retirement video package for him in next week's Apex that they'll just play, like kind of similar to Stipe and stuff. Because, like Dana White with the generic, he was a great person and a great guy to root for. Those things are true, but I kind of hope we get a package of like other fighters and stuff talking about his worth and meaning. Because he was the first guy to ever make Chimaev look human,
right,
and stuff. There was in that Apex fight against Kamaru Usman for the title, there was a few seconds where it was looking like he was going to be the next welterweight champ.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, probably wobbled Usman. I think that was in the first round, and then he got knocked out in the second or third. I can't quite remember, but it was like, it's like, damn, he was close, and then never. It kind of started going downhill after that. But he had a run that got him to the title. Remember, he was actually supposed to fight on Fight Island against Kamaru during the pandemic, and we got the.
That's when it got shut down, right?
We got he got COVID, I think, and then he got he couldn't go over there, and then they had the Masvidal fight, the first one.
Oh yeah, when they booked that one on last minute, yeah.
Yeah, even though Masvidal was supposed to be Masvidal's spot, then it was Burns' spot, and then it was Masvidal's spot again. So, yeah, this guy beat Tyrone Woodley, and he had a great career and really put it all together. Had a nice run in 2018, 2019, and the first half of, unfortunately, with COVID and everything else, it kind of took that away, some of his, steam away, and then eventually got the title shot. And,
And he also had an entire collegiate career in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that he was a champion in too. So he's had a great career. I think he was doing an interview with Mike Bond that he was looking to get into management to kind of like speak up for fighters and stuff. Like be a fighter's agent.
Yeah.
I love that in good faith, but I'm not kidding myself to think that you can actually negotiate with TKO.
Right. Right. It'll be interesting, and we wish Gilbert all the best of luck in his, his future endeavors, and we hope he does well. I'm sure he's not done. You know what I mean? He's been around Hungry Hoof and that gang his whole career, and is a good guy. Like, by all sense of purposes, from from watching, it seemed like a great fight, a great person, and nobody ever really said anything bad about Mr. Burns. But Bobby, we also let's get into the rest of the card here. Jasmine Jasudavicius gets a nice win as well. She's always hanging around here in these rankings. Where do you see her kind of going from here? Charles Jourdain also had a nice win. I thought that was one of the better fights. One of the best fights he looked as well.
Yeah, I'll get to Jourdain in a second. Jasmine Jasudavicius, good performance. Undoubtedly won the rounds. I was a little thrown up. She had a lot of control time, but at the same time, she was spending a lot of time in submission attempts. Granted, none of them really seemed like too tight or close to the fight ending or anything. But yeah, she looked really good, and I'm really not sure what to do with her next, honestly.
She's 7 right now.
Yeah, there are a couple intriguing fights. I do think like a fight with her and Grasso would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Just like, stylistically, Alexis is coming off the great knockout If you want to call it a submission, go for it, but it was clearly a knockout. I did see Jasmine also call for Macy Barber.
Yeah, Barber's
which,
5 right now.
You know, stylistically, I think that one is just as entertaining, but she definitely knows that
I think would be a good one.
Yeah, she definitely knows she needs one more to even consider like any title aspirations.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's good to see. And yeah, I mean, she always puts on an entertaining fight. You know, it's at least going to be some decent competition. And you know, I made the argument it could have been a lot higher on the card. And you know, once she realized that she could kind of get those takedowns and stuff, she was just kind of taking her down at will. And not really a rough loss for Silva, because she really did just get controlled. She had a few moments, but for the most part, it was Jasmine's fight.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. I think her and Blanchfield would be a fun one. This was remember, she just lost to Jasmine just lost to Fierro, so like she got the tried the crack at the top 5, right, and failed, and then she fought back and kind of in this one. So why not try to give her another top? Blanchfield's at 4. I mean, this you know, this flyweight division's pretty stacked right now. You know what I mean? We have I feel like Valentina and Silva need to happen here, and then we can kind of get this rest of these ladies kind of booked and going. It just seems kind of stalled out here.
Well, especially not knowing how many more fights Valentina wants to do, you know?
Right.
But it is good to at least see that there's some fresh contenders kind of also popping up if she does kind of continue to go. And yeah, obviously Valentina and Silva is the fight that needs to happen. I think they're just kind of saving it for, you know, later in the year for a co-main or something like that. And yeah, I mean, do you have a preference on? You said you'd prefer Blanchfield for Jasmine.
I just think that'd be a good one for her. I think those are two, you know, kind of grapple heavy fighters that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a fun fight, and you know, it's kind of the matchmaking I would prefer for, you know, these people at the top. It, you know, makes much more sense than doing the unranked route, and let's see if we can like jump this person up in the rankings.
Yeah. We mentioned Charles Jourdain, just to kind of go through the rest of the card. Jourdain, I thought that was the best. He looked at a unanimous decision against Kyler Phillips. How about they try to throw Jai Herbert to the Wolves here, and then he gets the TKO as well.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. He put Nalo down there. Yeah, I guess since that one happened first, we could do that one first. It was fun while it lasted. You know, you saw the way they're exchanging. Someone was going to go to sleep, and it looked like Nalo was probably going to get the victory. But things changed quick, and that was a brutal knockout. Like, just that was a rough one.
Yeah, what'd you think of Jourdain? I thought that was one of the better fights he's looked in.
Yeah, I mean, especially Kyler Phillips is just insanely athletic too.
Yeah.
So I do think it was a very good quality win for Jourdain. I haven't looked at the updated rankings, but I definitely think he deserves to be ranked. And he kind of made note to it. The best choice he made was losing to John Silva, because he, you know, made the decision to
drop down to bantamweight.
Yeah. So there are a lot of interesting fights for him at 135. There's a lot of good names there, especially if they put him in the rankings. But
he's not currently ranked, but I mean, why not give him? Why not him and Vinicius Oliveira? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that'd definitely be a fun one. I'm not sure if he's still like nursing that injury from the Batista fight. But
Yeah.
I definitely think he deserves to be fighting a ranked opponent next, bare minimum. You know, he's got some very good quality wins since that Silva loss.
Yeah, Montel Jackson's at 14. So, you know, why not Oliveira, who's actually talked about moving up, you know what I mean? So to 145. Bobby, we've had just kind of some news and notes before we look at the Apex card here.
Can I do a few more on the Canada card?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
The Marcio Barbosa, also insane knockout. Wish he didn't ask for the bonus because we know how that goes. But I definitely, he could very well be a player in that division. So I'm going to be kind of keeping an eye on him. Think it's definitely sky's the limit with him. You know, good win for Gage Young as well. Probably the most feel-good win on the card for me was Robert Valentin.
Yeah.
Finally getting a victory. You know, he made quick work and stuff as well. Was very emotional in the post-fight speech because he lost his mother last year. So you could tell that victory meant a lot to him, like probably more than anyone else on the card. And, you know, Castaneda and Volgden was a entertaining fight aside from the ridiculous fouling. You know, Volgden is the one who got into the UFC in one of the more entertaining Apex fights. Actually, his opponent is debuting on the Apex, the guy he lost to. But I'm a little worried too because his main trait seems to be that he's really tough. So I don't know. He's young though, so he's got plenty of time to improve. And then the heavyweights did again, man. Boser and Skarum, or however you pronounce his name. We now officially have had 5 rounds of entertaining heavyweight action. So I just had to mention that for you.
Heavyweights are back, baby. Heavyweights are back. We had some news and notes to kind of get into, Bobby. Arman Sarukian and Ilya kind of chirping at each other. Ilya's kind of said, you know, back to the Islam fight, he said like he would not vacate the light heavyweight. Like he would just fight Islam for the welterweight and then drop back down to 155. He just wants Islam. Seemed like that fight fell through at the White House, but he would like that fight. And Arman's, you know, called Arman dumb, retarded, and all types of shit. And Arman said that he thinks that his title fight will be for the vacant lightweight title.
Yeah, I watched the Ilya interview, and flat out, the main part that seemed disingenuous and just not believable was the Arman part. You know, you see, like, especially when you see how, like, Ariel was trying to set him up to get him to say, oh, yeah, you like talk down to Islam or something, or make it about like why he did not take the fight. And he didn't bite on any of it. He just, you know, gave the politically correct answer. I found it very telling. He didn't want to mention the main sticking point in that fight not happening had to do with the pay. But, you know, that was especially like when he called him a weasel. It just came off as a weak McGregor impression to me. And I've never really gotten that from Ilya in the past. I know a lot of people associate stuff he does with McGregor, but just when you got the entire part of the interview that felt a lot more genuine in him talking, and then immediately Arman gets proved up, and it's like, oh, you know, totally switch up. Now, granted, if that's his way of selling the fight, I totally get it. I've already written this fight on the board of fights I want to see that I don't think are going to happen. And speaking
Ilya and Arman, or Ilya and Islam?
I
Both?
mean, you almost can make it for both if you want.
Both? Yeah.
Like flat out, if Ilya is going up to 170, he's vacating the 155 title.
I don't think he should go up at all.
Yeah, it's I've made this point countless times. The biggest way you can sell me on the Ilya Islam fight at 170 would be for Ilya to just dispatch of Armin Sarukian at 155.
Yeah.
Like, you beat him, the rightful number one contender, I can get really excited about that Islam Ilya fight. If we get it after he KOs Justin Gaethje at the White House and just vacates his title to go get a third belt, I know the fight itself would be big, but it feels a lot more meaningless, in my opinion, because there's barely any lineage to this title as is. You know, I mean, they went out of their way to make the interim when, you know, he obviously had his personal stuff going on, and now they have to have that fight. But I was kind of hoping at best we would at least get Ilya defending against Armin, but I just don't think it's going to happen at this point. I think Armin's made a great job of making himself undeniable, especially with the social media numbers, like the main thing they look at to quantify this stuff. So it's definitely a far bigger fight than it was if they did it 6 months or a year ago. But that is the one that needs to happen. You know, I need to see Armin Sarukian versus Ilya Topuria, and I need to see Islam Makhachev versus Michael Morales and Ian Gary, like both of them. So, you know, I don't need Ilya cutting the line when we have rightful contenders at 170 that, I'm sorry, are far bigger challenges to Islam because of size.
I 100% agree with you. I don't think if it was Islam and Ilya at 155, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it at 170. He's just too big. Islam's too big, and you know what I mean. And it's gonna get to a point where like there's weight classes for a reason, you know.
And especially when you're talking about holding up two divisions that we're just barely getting clarity on, you know.
Yeah.
So it in a perfect world, I do think there is still an option that is the fight they want to close the year with, of Ilya and Armin there.
Yeah, give me that fight. I'd like to see it, and you know, with them kind of talking shit a little bit. I think those are.
I do think it's more appeasing than like the Patty trash talk and stuff. Like, though I did not find that part of the interview genuine, you could definitely sell that one to the moon.
Yeah. I don't the delusional part of Ilya that he was going to tap Islam.
I mean, yes. And again, I've like kind of gotten numb to the fact of him saying the outlandish stuff, because most of the time he is able to do that with but most of the time the prediction is he's going to knock the person out in the first round. And that was the great comeback I saw from Armin. I love that one, saying, I don't even think Khabib could submit Ilya. Like, great.
Khabib submit Islam.
Yeah, that was some good banter.
Yeah. We also had some nice fights announced. We got Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista announced for International Fight Week. I believe that's like the second or third fight on that. You know, this is the second time they'll see it, but I like, you know, I like the fight for both. Batista's been calling for Sandhagen. I wanted Sandhagen and O'Malley, but this is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I love it. I told you my only gripe is we're not getting 5 rounds for this, because especially with their styles, I got a bad feeling like when the third round ends, we're going to be hoping we got 2 more. But I get what they're doing, building out International Fight Week, and that card is slowly getting put together. And, it's kind of the biggest question, I guess, is what they're going to do at the top of that. But that is a very good quality fight. I know it's a rematch, but I think it is time for it to happen. The only part where I'll obviously feel for Corey is I heard basically Zahabi was saying that it was either him or Corey for the White House.
Yeah.
And so that's a bummer from that aspect of him missing out on the O'Malley fight. But I do think this is still going to be a really good, entertaining fight and would be a meaningful win for both guys, even though Corey already has the victory on him.
Yeah. You also have Marcus McGee makes his return. We haven't seen him since the Peter Yan fight. And he's fighting Jacob Wilcass.
Love that fight. They're definitely throwing Wilcass into the fire a little, I think. Hopefully Marcus can just avoid the guillotine, and I think he'll be fine. But, they gave him a huge jump with Peter Yan. So he always brings it and is an entertaining fighter that just moves forward. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. A lot of the fights that have been announced lately, I love the matchmaking a lot more than the announcements we were getting at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they're cooking. They're starting to cook a little bit. It took them a while, I feel like, but now maybe they heard the complaints. Maybe I have no idea. It seems like, obviously dealing with being a wrestling fan and a WWE, and a UFC fan, the WWE seems to be now, like, holy shit, what the fuck is this TKO company that's, ruining the thing that we love? And I think as a UFC fan, we've just been used to it,
It's, I try not to be too cynical on it, but it's just too point blank how obviously it's the same company with some of the decisions they're doing. Like even the choice to get McAfee involved, that is the Mark Shapiro special of just, hey, we're going to put a celebrity in here that should draw more traffic and stuff. And then, they are legitimately being the exact same company because they're even denying fucking press credentials to get into WrestleMania,
how
just like
ESPN,
the UFC does.
My question is, how does ESPN allow that? We're allowing your product to be on our airways, and you're going to deny our guy?
I mean, ESPN. So he was the guy that was writing the
article, giving them grades. Yeah,
and ESPN killed that.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah, ESPN killed that at the behest to WWE not being happy with it. And I know it. Some people like roll their eyes and be like, "Well, it's wrestling journalism. Like, what are you getting so bent out of shape about? It's a predetermined thing." And I think those people are just like missing the point of, if you are not able to pretty much call the product for what it is, if there's some displeasures with it, what the hell is even the point of covering it?
Yeah, Andreas Hale, and he covers UFC and WWE, but primarily WWE. And you're right. Like when he was writing about WWE, was giving them letter grades, especially when they first went to the ESPN. I mean, he was doing it subjectively. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't wrong on most of the grades he was given.
He wasn't hitting them with like an F. He was hitting them with a C. Like if anything, he graded on a curve and went up. Like,
right. And then for them to deny access is sad, and for ESPN to allow that to happen is even sadder, I feel like.
But tell me you were surprised.
Because I'm not surprised by anything, but
because we're so used to it with the UFC of them making the calls of who's going to be in that room.
Right.
And I even found it comical, man. Like I saw UFC media quote tweeting it, calling it egregious. And it's like, you are the same people that know what it takes to get in that room and pretty much can't ask anything critical.
Right.
I mean, credit to Luke Thomas and Chuck Mendenhall for talking about it on Monday's Morning Combat. I really wish I could see it from other people. I find it kind of bizarre that this is the same thing that happened to Ariel Helwani. He got booted out of there, and you saw the entire media stand in unison to get him back in, and then crickets on this front. Like, is that because of the ESPN deal with MVP? I very well could be reading way too much into it, but I would just like to see more people talking about it in the space instead of just talking about how shitty WrestleMania was.
Yeah. Speaking of the, in other things in TKO, like in WrestleMania, like everybody, the ads, the ads, I'm like, well, shit, that's just like a normal fucking Saturday for me, you watching all these ads and, ads here. They got a sponsor here. Like, well, that's just like the fucking UFC. You know what I mean? Like they have all this stuff and everything sponsored by this person or that thing or this, like it like they have, there's no, they're going to sponsor everything and anything that they can.
The most absurd one is them putting the Slim Jim logos on the table.
Yeah,
that is more comical than the UFC putting a sponsorship on the prayer mat. Like the just egregious product placement.
Bobby, do you think they had that rich guy was able to sit ringside? Do you think maybe one day we can sit ringside with John Anik, and then if we're rich enough, we can buy us a spot at the table?
If you're willing to pay for it, anything can be bought from Mark Shapiro and Nick Khan.
Yeah, the bootlicking combat sports is pathetic. Amen to that. Yeah, it's just wild. It is wild, and I do feel like just real quick to kind of just mention the WrestleMania last part of WrestleMania here. I think I said this I was on a guest host on a wrestling show on Monday, and I said this. I think night one is the TKO way, right? There was a bunch of celebrities and all this bullshit. Where night two didn't have that, and I feel like night two was for the diehard wrestling fans, and that's why night two was better. But night one was the TKO way.
I mean, my stance on this. Night one should not exist. Like, there is nothing that devalues the product more than splitting it up into two nights. Because
but they just need to go back to doing like a. The problem was they used to do like a 14-hour fucking WrestleMania, and you were passed out by the time the main event started. They just need to cut it down to one night and then just let it be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the double main event aspect is just comical to me. Like they try to sell it as, we're gonna have two main events, and it's like, no, you're not. You're having a match that ends on Saturday night. The main event is on Sunday. It's the last match. But it's going to get better before it's going to get worse. I can promise you that.
Well, I thought Ariel made a good point. They are losing the diehard fans, the diehard wrestling fans, the diehard MMA fans. Like, they're pricing those people out. You saw it in Canada. You saw it in London. You're seeing it that they're struggling with the tickets because the price is so fucking high.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is wrestling fans and UFC fans are very much just regular common people. You know what I mean? Like the average Joes that you work 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah, but the bizarre thing is they don't even care about the ticket sales because of the site fee model. Like they get covered on.
Yeah.
What did you say?
He said they don't care. They don't fucking care.
Yeah. I I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you were talking about the site fee.
Oh yeah, no, with the site fee, they don't give a shit how the ticket sales really are. That's kind of just extra. And when the site fee is that much, who is going to pay for that? We pay for that. And so yeah, it's unfortunate. And I see the same thing with New Jersey. There's a lot of tickets available just because it's so ridiculously priced. But at the same time, where their model is, hey, we got this $7.7 billion, plus we have our site fee, don't have to worry about too much. The rest is just extra.
Yeah. Let's move to this week's fight, Bobby. We got none other back at the glorious Apex, and it is headlined by the former UFC bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling taking on his former teammate Youssef Zalal in the main event. They're giving kind of Zalal the treatment, the treatment as far as like, can you knock yourself up into these rankings? And I don't know if they've ever hated anybody more than they hate Aljamain Sterling, but here we are. Let me pull up the rankings here. So Aljo is 5, and Zalal is 7. So it's not that bad in the rankings, but it's just, Aljo's been on a nice little, he almost beat Mozart, and he's kind of, been right here at the 145, and here comes the young up-and-comer Zalal.
He did not almost beat Mozart.
It was a close fight. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight, but he clearly lost. Hey, I'm not the UFC. I don't hate Aljo.
I just do every time I say Zalal, I think of Zoltan.
Yeah, I mean, I love this fight as far as the matchup itself. This should have been last weekend's main event. You have a former champion who is ranked highly at 145 that is fighting a young surging contender who has looked great in his last few fights. I mean, he styled on Calvin Kattar. He was able to do nothing to him, was able to submit Josh Emmett. I really do think this is an appropriate bump. And because of the matchmaking, I do think it being in the Apex helps Aljo a little bit with being able to close the distance for takedowns. But Zalal is very light on his feet. So it is interesting that they've trained together too. I don't know, like where
8 wins in a row for Zalal.
Yeah, no, he's very good and someone that should be, I don't think this is like too high of a step for him. I could see Aljo maybe wanting to fight higher up. I mean, he's been calling for Volk since I don't know how long.
Since he entered the division.
That last fight with Brian Ortega was just so bizarre because like Ortega passed out. It ended up being at a catch weight. So like Aljo weighed in at like 153 pounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for like how bad Ortega looked, I really didn't think Aljo looked that great. I mean, he was kind of using some of his striking and stuff in the fight, but I love this matchmaking a lot more because like that's another scenario where like Ortega just seems to be so much on the decline. You really can't take much away from Aljo's performance there, to where if Aljo's able to stop a guy on a surging win streak, well, that's a very good quality win. And now, we can be talking about him possibly fighting for the title and stuff like that. So definitely a high quality main event that I think needs to happen.
Yeah, I forgot about the Aljo and Ortega fucking fight. That was like in China or something, right? Wasn't it like the main event?
Yeah. It was a terrible fight.
since Zalal he had like a 3-fight losing streak back in 2021. In 2020, he lost to Ilya Taporia and Sang Woo Choi and Sean Woodson by split decision. Then he had a draw against Damone Blackshear. After that, kid has been on a row. TKO over Edwin Chavez, TKO over Jake Childers, submission over some guy's name I can't fucking pronounce, submission over Billy Quantillo, submission over Jack Earns, submission over Jack Shore, decision, a unanimous decision over Calvin Cater, and then he submitted Josh Emmett.
Yeah,
like, I mean, in this 8 wins, 7 of them have been finishes.
Yeah, and he's well rounded too. It's not like he's just a striker.
No, I mean he's submitting folks.
Yeah,
he's only 29. He's not even 30 yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's like a 6 years difference in the age.
Yeah. And Aljo, so his last records have been loss to O'Malley, win Cater, loss to Evilov, win against Ortega. So,
yeah, I mean he lost to O'Malley and Evloev, and he's still definitely. This ain't a Gilbert Burns situation, he's still I would consider him a contender.
Yeah. Who you like in this fight?
It's a bit of a coin flip for me, but though I think Aljo is going to be able to kind of take advantage of the smaller cage. I think I'm leaning towards Zalal being able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back and forth. Zalal is really good. I'm not going to take anything away from him. Aljo is also really fucking good. He'll wear you out like a backpack. You know what I mean? He might be one of the best fighters taking somebody's back. I was trying to find the damn odds here.
I think Aljo's a slight underdog.
So Aljo is at plus 110. Zalal is 135. Method of victory here. Sterling by TKO or DQ by TKO 16 plus 1600. Aljo by submissions plus 400. And Sterling by decisions plus 225. If you're going to pick Sterling, you might as well pick by decision. I think that's how you would get it done.
Yeah. It would not shock me at all if Aljo wins. I was actually kind of surprised he was not the favorite. I don't know if it's because of Zalal's win streak.
I think so.
Aljo did compete in RAF and stuff, but he's kind of has had the issues of like getting the proper fights he wants booked and stuff. So I think in a perfect world, he would be a little bit more active and stuff. But if he's able to get this done, he's got a lot better case for fighting the winner of Volkanovski Evloev, especially like if Evloev wins, it's a interesting rematch. If Volk wins, I mean, as Aljo says, former champ versus current 145 GOAT.
Yeah, and Zalal by submission plus 1,000, which is kind of surprising because he does have submissions. That's some juice.
Yeah, but Aljo has great submission. Like that would be like the jaw-dropping, shocking one if he was able to get a sub. I think he might have even called for it in his interview, if I'm not mistaken. So it's apparently on his mind. But
yeah, and then Zalal by decisions plus 150. Zalal by TKO is plus 400.
Yeah, I'm this is just enjoy the fights one for me. I would not bet $1 on this card.
Yeah, it's tough because it's I wouldn't. I was looking at it and I'm just like, I don't know who I would pick. I am gonna go with Aljo here for the gavel here, my friend.
I'll stick with the young buck. Give me Zalal.
I won't be surprised if Zalal wins, but I'm gonna go Aljo here.
Yeah, no, I think it's a legitimate coin flip. I do actually think because of that, there is value on Aljo's money line. Like just being able to get him at a plus value
Right.
is pretty good for MMA.
Yeah. The rest of the card is, it isn't the greatest. You got Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards, Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez, Davy Grant versus Adrian Luina Martini, Montel Jackson versus Rony Barcelos. You got a heavyweight fight for the third week in a row. Ryan Spann versus Marcus Bushia.
Yeah, so the Adrian Luna Martini, I know I probably butchered that. Apologies. He is the one who fought Mark Vogden in that Dana White Contender Series.
Oh, okay.
Fight of probably the Contender Series, but definitely that was the first time we ever saw Dana come into the cage immediately and award both of them a contract. Like
that was the Marcus Bushida fight. Is that what you're saying?
No, the Adrian Luna Martini versus Davy Grant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, Martini was.
Oh shit! I remember that they were talking as like they're one of the best. I remember that fight now. Yeah,
and I don't think
last Contender Series last season.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see again Dana walking into the cage and awarding them both the contract on the microphone before they do readings. So, and they found him a great opponent. Davy Grant may be 40, but he still always brings it and puts on entertaining fights. So that's probably one of the ones on the main card I'm looking forward to, as well as the Alexander Hernandez fight versus Garcia there.
Yeah, then on the prelims, you got Cedric Vise Dumas. Dumas is back with the ankle bracelet versus Jackson McVeigh. How about Mara Buena Silva? I mean, the mighty has fallen. Remember, this is a lady who fought for the title at one point, Bobby. And she's taking on Michelle Montega, who is undefeated.
Well, yeah, I mean, credit to Maya Bueno Silva. I think she's having a child. So congratulations on that.
She's having a child and she's fighting?
No. I probably could have said that better. No, she is not having the child. I'm not sure who is, but yeah, obviously if she's fighting this weekend, she's not pregnant.
Oh, well, the Brazilians are crazy, Bobby. I just thought that,
I mean, truthfully, I completely forgot that fight was even on this card. I guess it is because it's on the prelims.
She's on a 4-fight losing streak.
Yeah, I know she's had some frustrating performances in there, so I'm sure.
If you remember, she tested positive after the Holly Holm fight, and there's a no contest, and hasn't lost a fight since, or won a fight.
Yeah, it was for like Ritalin, supposedly.
Yeah,
like she didn't take her Adderall.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, and
the last name like Silva from Brazil,
I think the first fight on the card is that Victor Venezuela kid making his debut, fighting Max Griffin, who keeps losing, but that should be. I like this card. The matchmaking in this a hell of a lot more than I did last weekend, and that card delivered. So I'm pretty optimistic about this one.
Yeah, I mean, the cards usually deliver. You know what I mean? The names aren't the greatest names, but they're still fights, and they're still going to be good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been catered to as long as there is a high stakes quality main event. The rest I kind of just accept. And maybe, I don't know if that's just fucking TKO wearing me down or what. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, you got any last thoughts or anything before we get out of here?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, we'll have a slew of stuff to break down next week. I mean, we got JDM Parates. You got Inoue fighting, Benavidez fighting. There's a lot of good combat next week. So, this should be a nice little appetizer to get us into a jam-packed Saturday next week.
No doubt. We'll be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. So be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the fights. Man, next weekend's like at 2 a.m. or something, the Perth card.
Your time, I think
it's 3 a.m. It's lonely.
Yeah, I think for me, the prelims start at 1 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
So, I'll
I think
stay
it's
up.
5 a.m. I think it's the main card starts at like 4:30 or 5 my time.
Yeah, I'll stay up through the night to watch a Rising card. I don't know if UFC Perth has that in my graces. And
I know you love Tafa, and I know you're tuning in.
Oh,
I mean, one thing I know about you, Bobby, is Bobby Blunt's never misses a Tafa fight live, you know?
Well, now I at least know there will be elite propaganda next week about the Tafa brothers. So.
All right, folks. We'll see you next Wednesday. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.